Good morning. It's Wednesday. Today we read Luke 23:44 through 56. It was now about the 6th hour, and there was darkness over the whole land until the 9th hour, while the sun's light failed, and the curtain of the temple was torn in two. Then Jesus, calling out with a loud voice, said, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." And having said this, he breathed his last. Now when the centurion saw what had taken place, he praised God, saying, "Certainly this man was innocent." And all the crowds that had assembled for the spectacle, when they saw what had taken place, returned home beating their breasts. And all his acquaintances and the women who had followed him from Galilee stood at a distance watching these things. Now there was a man named Joseph from the Jewish town of Arimathea. He was a member of the council, a good and righteous man, who had not consented to their decision and action, and he was looking for the kingdom of God. This man went to Pilate and asked for the body of Jesus. Then he took it down and wrapped it in a linen shroud and laid him in a tomb cut in stone, where no one had ever yet been laid. It was the day of preparation, and the Sabbath was beginning. The women who had come with him from Galilee followed and saw the tomb and how his body was laid. Then they returned and prepared spices and ointments. Well, on the Sabbath day they rested according to the commandment. So, a lot of symbolism here, I think. The 6th hour in Jewish timekeeping would have been around noon. The 9th hour would have been about 3. So it was dark from noon until 3. It was very unusual for it to be dark at that time of day, right? The sun's light failed. And then the curtain of the temple was torn in two. And I think it's Matthew who says it's torn from top to bottom. It's torn. On that curtain were painted symbols of creation, of stars and moons and the sun and things. And so it's like creation is rent in two. Something to think about. Jesus says, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit," and then dies. The centurion, and centurions are Roman officers, they don't give a whip about any local people or things. And he says, this man was innocent. And you all remember the movie where the voice of John Wayne, "Surely this man was the Son of God." That's the picture you're supposed to get here. The crowds all realize he was innocent, and they go home mourning and beating their breasts. Then there was Joseph of Arimathea. Now he's a member of the council of the Jews, the Sanhedrin. He's a good man, a righteous man, looking for the kingdom of God. He's maybe with Nicodemus. They're kind of closet followers of Jesus, or at least they're interested in Jesus. He goes to Pilate and asks for Jesus' body. Most of the time when they crucified somebody up there on the hill, when he died, they took the body down and they just threw it down the hill. And down at the bottom of the hill, in the pile of junk, dogs and other animals would eat the body, tear it apart and stuff, and so you wouldn't get a decent burial. You would just be thrown away. So he goes and says, "Let me have the body of Jesus." And Pilate says, "Oh, fine, have the body." So they put it in a tomb where no one's ever been laid. Now, what they did was wrap the body up with spices and things to try to defeat the smell of decomposition. They put the body in this tomb on a kind of a rock shelf, and they leave it there for some years until it had decomposed to nothing but bones. When there was nothing but bones, they would go in there and they'd take the bones and put them in a box. The box is called, in our day, an ossuary. It comes from the Latin word for bone. And so they put your bones in this box, and they might scratch the name of the dead person on the top of the box. Archaeologists got very excited a few years ago when they found a box with Yeshua on the side of it. And they thought, oh, we found Jesus' bones. And the church said, no, you didn't. But they found the bones of somebody named Joshua or Yeshua or Jesus. But so what? That's a very common name in the ancient world. Anyway, you put your bones in there, and then they sweep out the tomb, and it's ready for the next person to be laid up there to decompose. And so this is a fresh tomb where no one's ever been laid. And it's the Sabbath is beginning, so it's, we got to hurry and quit. And then the women come and they see where he's laid and they see how he's laid out, and they go home to prepare the spices and things. And then they wait because it's a Sabbath and they can't go do this on the Sabbath. So they wait until the first day of the week. So Jesus, their leader, the one they'd hoped was the Messiah, the one that had given them so many blessings and such promise, is dead. That's it. Story's over. Or is it? See you tomorrow.